Let's talk about the story of a man thrown into a den of lions. You know the one, from the book of Daniel. We usually remember it as this incredible, almost unbelievable story of survival. But what if there's more to it? What if the real lesson isn't just about making it through the night? What if it's actually this deep dive into resilience, faith, and a totally different way of looking at salvation?
This question, right here, is the heart of it all. Seriously, think about it. We tend to believe that being saved means getting pulled out of a crisis, right? But this story, it really challenges that whole idea. It suggests there's a much more profound, more powerful way to think about what deliverance actually means. So you might be wondering, how did Daniel even end up in this mess? Well, it wasn't bad luck. It was a perfectly calculated plot, and it was all born from plain old jealousy. See, Daniel was just too good at his job. The king respected him so much that his colleagues couldn't take it. And since they couldn't find a single flaw in his work, and believe me, they tried, they decided to weaponize the one thing they knew they could count on, his integrity.
I mean, the trap they set was just methodical, almost brilliant in its cruelty. First, they zeroed in on the very core of who Daniel was, his unshakable faith, his daily habit of prayer. Then they cooked up a law specifically designed to make that very thing a crime. And get this, they made the law unchangeable. The last step was easy. Just sit back and wait. They knew he wouldn't compromise. It was a trap built around his own virtue.
And this, right here, brings us to the ultimate conflict. Daniel is now facing an impossible choice. He can either obey the brand new law of the land, or he can stay loyal to his deepest convictions. It's a classic test, isn't it? What do you do when the world's rules go head-to-head with your own core principles?
The choice couldn't be more stark. On one hand, you have the law of man. It's temporary, it's manipulative, and it's backed by the threat of a horrible death. But on the other hand, you have Daniel's higher conviction, something he viewed as eternal, foundational, and non-negotiable part of his identity. For him, this wasn't just about two competing laws. It was a choice between who he really was and who other people were trying to force him to be. Okay, and this is maybe the most crucial part of the whole story. Daniel walked right into that trap with his eyes wide open. He went home, opened his windows just like he always did, and he prayed. This wasn't a slip-up. It was a conscious, deliberate, and incredibly brave act. He chose his convictions over his own safety.
And snap. The trap springs. The consequence is delivered. Daniel is thrown into a den of hungry lions for the night. This is it. This is the ultimate ordeal, the moment where his faith comes face to face with the ultimate test. You know, the stakes literally could not be higher.
Now this contrast gets right to the heart of the matter. You've got the king, the most powerful man in the entire kingdom, and he is completely powerless, pacing all night, sleepless, just eaten up with regret. Then you have Daniel, literally surrounded by deadly predators, who, the story says, was completely at peace. It's an incredible image that shows true strength isn't about your circumstances, it's about your inner fortitude.
And this brings us right back to that big question from the beginning. This is the game-changing takeaway. For Daniel, deliverance wasn't being saved from the lion's den, it was being protected in the lion's den. He still had to go through it. He still had to spend that night surrounded by predators. Salvation was found right there in the middle of the crisis, not in avoiding it altogether.
So what was the point of it all then? If the goal wasn't just to escape, what was the reward for that kind of incredible faithfulness? Well, the outcome reveals a really powerful conclusion.
This quote just sums it up perfectly, doesn't it? The point of the whole trial wasn't really to test Daniel for his own sake. It was to demonstrate something to everybody else. That lion's den, it basically became a stage. Daniel's private act of faith became this very public testament to a power that was way bigger than the king's and definitely bigger than the lions. And the outcome was just stunning. The lions' mouths were completely shut. Daniel walked out the next morning without a single scratch on him. His faith was publicly vindicated, and the amazed king rewarded him openly. Everyone who saw it or heard about it witnessed a power at work that just defied all logic, proving that his faithfulness didn't go unnoticed.
You know, this ancient story isn't just a story. It's a framework for how we can face our own challenges. It kind of forces us to ask ourselves, what's the lion's den I'm facing in my life right now? Maybe it's a difficult job, a tough relationship, a personal crisis, and it offers this incredible new perspective. Maybe the goal isn't just to escape it. Maybe it's about finding the strength and protection to get through it,
and in the process revealing a kind of fortitude we never even knew we had.